We're moving towards Shvi'i Shel Pesach, the last day, or in Galus, days of Pesach. And the end of Pesach is about Kriyas Yamsuf, is about the time that the Jewish people, Bnei Yisrael, crossed through the sea that Hashem miraculously split for them. And of course, what the story is that Bnei Yisrael left Mitzrayim. They finally get out of Mitzrayim and are released by the Mitzrim. And it would seem at this point that they are, after this entire journey, after this entire long saga and long-winded way of finally leaving, of being pulled out of Mitzrayim, that they're finally free, that they're finally out. And yet, they're then chased again from behind, and the Mitzrim pursue them, and they come up against the Yamsuf, and Hashem splits the sea, and they're able to get to the other side. And the Mitzrim get washed up and drown and killed. And I think that within this, there's actually a very, very important and interesting idea that emerges for us to think about, which is that Yetzias Mitzrayim, the leaving of Egypt, is not a one-time event. It's not something that just happens and now it's closed and it's done and it's over. Mitzrayim, as all the Sfarim explain, represents the Meitzarim of our lives, the constrictions of our lives, the challenges in our lives, the difficulties in our lives. And we sometimes like to think that once something's over, it's over. Once we left Mitzrayim, it should be over now. So after the first days of Pesach, we have Yisipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, we leave, so it should be over. And yet it's not, because the Mitzrim pursue them from behind. In a sense, if you think about it, it can be looked at as a metaphor for post-traumatic stress. The trauma is over, the event is over, it ended, but it's still chasing after me. I'm still experiencing it. There's some way in which this is still bothering me. It's still eating at me. It's still impacting and influencing me. It's still living inside of me. It's chasing after me even once I've left it. Because the reality is that as much as we often like to think that once something is over, it's over. Once we've emerged from something, once it's ended, it has ended. What Shvi'i Shel Pesach and the importance of focusing on Kriyas Yamsuf is trying to show us, I believe, maybe on some level, is that oftentimes it's really not over. It's really not done. And sometimes people think, what's wrong with me? Why am I still bothered by this? It happened 5 years ago and it ended already. It was over 6 months ago and it ended already. Or maybe even 20 years ago, maybe 50 years ago. Why is it still bothering me? What's wrong with me? Why am I so sensitive? What am I doing wrong? And Shvi'i Shel Pesach, Kriyas Yamsuf, is showing us that we're looking at it the wrong way. Because the idea is that Hashem intentionally made it this way. Hashem intentionally made it that there are layers to everything, levels to everything. We can leave Mitzrayim, but that doesn't mean that it's over now. We left Mitzrayim. And when we experienced Mitzrayim and we left Mitzrayim, what do we leave with? With a rechush gadol, some great wealth, some post-traumatic stress growth instead of post-traumatic stress, we leave with post-traumatic growth. We leave with a rechush gadol. We gain something from that experience. We emerge with something unique, something important in our lives. And because each time we experience in Mitzrayim, we leave with a rechush gadol, Hashem made it so that there's layers upon layers upon layers. So once it's over, that doesn't mean it's completely over. There's another layer of Yetzias Mitzrayim to be had at Kriyas Yamsuf. And from that experience, there's another rechush gadol to be earned, to be gained, to be gleaned, to be taken out. Because within our experiences, it's never just a beginning and an end, and it's never one-dimensional, and it's never just exactly the way that it appears on the surface or that it seems to us at one point in our life, from one perspective, from one angle, from one mindset. That's important to experience and to go through and to emerge with your rechush gadol, with your post-traumatic growth. But then at another point in your life, it's going to come back again and show up again in another way because there's another rechush gadol to gain. There's another growth to gain from it. There's something else to be experienced and taken out of it. And that's when we look at it as an opportunity, when we look at it as kulanu baderech, that it's all a journey, and that's not a b'di'evet. It's not a what's wrong with me? Why am I still bothered by this? Why am I so sensitive? Why am I still thinking about it? But instead I look at it as that's what it means to be in this world. That's what it means to be alive. It means to feel things. It means to be sensitive. It means to experience things deeply. It means to be impacted and influenced by things. And if I'm feeling, then I'm alive. If something is alive in me, then I'm alive and I'm human. And that's exactly how Hashem created it. And I think maybe on some level, Shvi'i Shel Pesach is teaching us that. It's teaching us that don't think Yetzias Mitzrayim is just, okay, we left Mitzrayim, so now we left Mitzrayim. But instead, it's a spiral process. It happens again and again, each time with another layer, another level, another piece of ourselves that becomes revealed to us through that experience. And if we switch from the mindset of looking at our ongoing grappling and struggling and feeling of things that have happened to us, things that we've experienced, things that we've gone through, if we look at it instead of looking at it from a b'diavad mindset, from a oh my gosh, I have to still think about this. I have to still talk about this. I have to still deal with it. But instead we look at it as a lechatchila. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is an opportunity. This is normal. This is human. This is how I'm supposed to be. It transforms the entirety of the experience. We celebrate Shvi'i Shel Pesach. We celebrate Kriyas Yam Suf because it was another layer that was revealed to us of the Yetzias Mitzrayim that's available, that was available then and continues to be available to all of us throughout our lives.